Jess, he's a co-founder as well. So we've known each other for years. We grew up together. Yeah, and then he was like, I was like, I want to do activities with them. He said, you want to do a fundraiser? I was like, hey, let's bring those two ideas together. And we wanted to, so our fundraiser, the intention was to raise funds to purchase art materials because we felt that art is a very underappreciated field. I mean, everyone loves art, but as something that you can explore as a career, you know, people don't really go into that. You know, they don't really encourage it. They don't want to be doctors and scientists. And then, so yeah, so because of that, we were like, hey, let's do art workshops. And then we didn't want to just go into the village and bring the donations. We were like, you can't just dump the donations and chow. So what we should do is teach them how to use it, teach them what they can do with the art donations. So yeah, so that's how it started. So then, and then we met Khairul. Khairul came to one of our fundraisers in Dekara, and then he does work with shelter home children. So we were like, and he was like, I really love what you guys are doing. So like, hey, let's do it together.
Over there, we managed to meet Khairul. Khairul, who happened to be already working with children. He does art therapy workshops and classes with underprivileged kids. As you know, he's from an organization called Karya. So he's been doing that for a while already, and he sort of like kind of asked us what we were doing, and we explained, and we were asking what he was doing, and then we say like, wow, it just like everything just kind of correlates. So after a while we discussed, and we came out with Projek Senikami. Like, or why don't we expand it from not just the Semai kids, but also the kids that Khairul is working with, the underprivileged kids. We'll do more art therapy workshop.
I already know Ibrahim and Anis for quite some time. I went to their events a couple of times to escape from bondage. But it's just that one day, the three of us, me, Anis, and Ibrahim, we decided to just sit down, just talk about what we want to do with our kids, because Anis works with the Orang Asli kids, I work with the shelter home kids, and we just decided to, you know what, just combine forces and just double our demographics. And from then it was like, okay, all right, we've been working together, I guess.
Well, Projek Senikami is a collaboration between three of us, and we all have the same. We're working in the same area, but we all have our goals. I think as a Projek Senikami is definitely about it's about just right now. How to say it? 45 years, we don't know what we're going to be doing, but we have ideas of expanding, working with other groups of kids. Like maybe next year we'll be starting similar activities with refugee kids in Penang, Myanmar refugee kids. So I think that isn't in the case. It's about just widening Senikami. Who is Kami? Kami is everyone. You know, whoever wants to join. And I think what we're doing now is just trying to create a really solid relationship with the villages and with the children. So once they're more familiar with us, and like even now when we go, they're like, hey, you know, there's that familiarity. So we just want to keep nurturing that, keep building that with the different groups of kids. And then like in August, we're having our showcase event. And that event is to bring back the volunteers with the shelter home kids and the Orang Asli children who have never met, you know, to meet all over again at the same place and to interact. So if we can keep doing Senikami over the years, we'll keep doing that. We'll keep organizing events where all these different people can re-converge and re-meet, and yeah, I think that's what we want to do. Hopefully, yeah, we'll see where it goes. Kind of going with the flow. Yeah. I really love art. I mean, I'm not talking about painting alone. I'm just like, I love music. I love reading. I love films. I really, really love it, you know. And I knew that growing up, those were the things that got me through, like my parents' divorce. You know, like the life events. So I knew that I'm not alone. I knew that other kids have that as well. Other people have that. And then when I met the Orang Asli community, they have a lot of issues, mainly with their land rights and all that. But they're children. They're like the future of their community. So I was like, how do we reach out to these children? And what is a common language? And music is a common language. Film, art. So like, yeah, art. There you go. So I guess, yeah, it's basically just using art, harnessing art for change, for empowerment, for awareness. Yeah, basically.
Uh, with the Orang Asli kids, basically, of course, I only found them, you know, through Anis, and with Anis, she found the shelter home kids through me.
This outreach project, they have relationships with about 7 villages in Slim River. So I went into one of those 7 villages, and then through there, it just starts from that. Once you meet one villager and then you speak to one of the community teachers, then they will introduce you to the others. And so when I started the first project with Jess Ibrahim in 2012, Boring Raw, the project before Projek Senikami. So when we did that, we were like, I went straight back to Slim River because I was familiar with the kids there and I wanted to revisit them. I wanted to see how they were doing, and we already had a relationship with them. So yeah, that's how we came across them. That's how we made touch with them, just from that first trip that I went into 5 years back. Yeah.
I say trouble would be, I wouldn't lie, funds. Funds, time, volunteers sometimes.
I think one of the obstacles was to get people to come to our fundraisers, our events, and also meeting deadlines, because the way we work, I guess it's not the conventional like, okay, everybody, there's a deadline, we have to make sure the posters get out at this date, but no, because as it is, we all are currently busy with our current work, so even to meet up to discuss and plan out the workshops and the events are kind of like scattered throughout the weeks. So we've had some trouble we've released posters like, for example, the day before the event itself, and we got like a really small turnout. We didn't get to manage to raise the funds that we needed, and also getting volunteers. Sometimes there's some volunteers who pulled out again the day right before the workshops.
But even though that we have all these troubles, I think for us, the 3 of us, we just say that, you know what, let's just do it. And whatever that we have, we're just gonna scrunch it, use whatever materials that we have, whoever we have. But so long that we have these workshops with the Orang Asli kids and the shelter home kids, that's fine.
There's a few actually. One is, I think for me, is trying to create awareness. It's about educating, and not about educating the Orang Asli communities themselves. It's also about educating urban youths like ourselves, and even just the communities that are not Orang Asli, because sometimes there's this stereotype that Orang Asli children or the youths are they're not interested in studying, they're not interested in doing anything, they're lazy and they're not talented, they have nothing to offer, so it's kind of trying to dispel that. We're trying to change all these stereotypes that we have of the indigenous communities, and what better way to do that than through art, because art is a common language, like I said before. So yeah, that's the main thing. It's about creating a bridge. We want to be like a bridge between these children in the villages and also the shelter home children, and also to show how the shelter home kids in Petaling Jaya are not that different from the kids all the way, these indigenous children living in the village. It's like at the end of the day, we're all the same. And yeah, it's about doing that. It's about being a bridge. Also about encouraging and empowering the Orang Asli children and the shelter home children to tell them that art is important and you can go far with art, in any form. And it's something that you have to nurture and constantly practice. It's equally as important, I believe personally, to math and English, and history. So, and especially the Orang Asli, they have their own culture, which is very much relevant to arts. They have their own traditional music, their own traditional weaving, and for example, like these rings, this is their art. So, yeah, it's about bridging, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, giving them that space to express themselves. Because most of the time, for the Orang Asli kids, from what we gathered by the teachers like Kak Nora and Umi, we've met her, and yeah, well, number one, they're kind of very isolated from even the main town at Slim River. Like even to get to the villages, you have to go really deep and through the palm oil plantations to actually get to the village. So the access to this, even to their schools or to the town, is very limited. So when we come all the way, like giving effort to actually go there and bringing the stuff, the materials, you're actually providing them with that avenue, like the avenue which they would might not have on a regularly. So it's giving them that opportunity to look, see what you have in your head, what your idea, and you can tell that by the face. I don't know, I can't say for sure, but from what I see, like you can really say that they get to release a bit of whatever they've been carrying throughout the week or something. You know, because maybe they always wanted to draw and wanted to show their friends, but they couldn't. But like for example, when they did the box workshop and some of them had to design, and they're like, oh, even their friends were like into it, and everybody just like, yeah, and just trying to get that, trying to foster that out of them, I guess.
Sebelum ni mereka cuma belajar sajalah, macam membaca, mengira, mengeja. Itu sajalah rutin mereka kalau kita ajar. Tapi bila sudah ada aktiviti macam ni, dari apa yang kita lihat, mereka macam lebih seronok dan mereka dapat belajar perkara yang baru lah, yang sebelum ni mereka belum pernah belajar.
They inspired me. Yeah, really, because when like with our volunteers, we have a different mix of youths coming in, and that's intentional. We try to ensure that they're not all Malaysians or they're not all from one school or from one background. Like we try and keep it as diverse as possible. And when we live in the city, there's social issues, political issues, which is something I'm quite passionate about. And like it saddens me, for example, when we have these stereotypes over people who are from Africa or from the Middle East. We have these preconceived notions of these people, and that's the best thing about children, is that they don't have that. They don't have that. It's created by society. So when we go into the village or when we go to the shelter homes, and then you see the volunteers interacting with the kids, it's really nice, and that's the reason why I do it, to hear them laugh and hear the volunteers laugh, because the interaction is so innocent. It's just so, there's no pretense, and everything is so relaxed, and everyone's just having fun, and no one's prejudging each other for who they are, where they come from, what they look like. And that's really important, and we want to encourage that, we want to nurture that. And these kids, they naturally have it. They when they see someone who's perhaps from like the Middle East, can't even speak their language, can't speak Malay, but they can still communicate, in a way, and that is, I think that's amazing, and that's something that we want to teach.
I'd say that with all the works, with all the troubles, with work or whatever, working with these kids, it's one of the few things that keeps me sane. And maybe just me, maybe I'm just cheesy, but even though that sometimes we're the teachers, we're the mentors, but sometimes if you really listen, you find out actually these kids they can be the teachers too. You're the student and they're the teachers.
Setakat ni melalui pengalaman kakak tengok memang ada kesan dia lah, sebab macam membuat macam alat muzik, mereka dapat belajar macam mana menggunakan bahan-bahan buangan, mereka belajar dengan membuat alat-alat muzik, dan juga mereka dapat macam berkongsi pengalaman ataupun kemahiran mereka juga dengan orang luar jugalah, yang selama ni mereka tidak tahu mereka berkemahiran sebenarnya. Bila peluang macam ni diberi kepada mereka, mereka rasa ini macam satu peluang untuk membuka mereka punya kemahiran lah, kongsi kemahiran juga.
Pegang yang pertama macam ini, pegang nombor 2 macam ini, pusingkan dia, tunduk. Okey, David. Sekarang saya nak ajar awak cara untuk lepaskan ring ni. Are you ready? Okay. Pegang yang pertama macam ini. Pegang nombor 2 macam ini. Okay, tiup kita tengok. Okay, goyangkan ring ni. Okay, goyang badan sini. Goyang badan sini. Now, lepaskan ring.